as I've been going through and pulling selects on our sequence here for this YouTube video, I got to a point in the shoot where I do the kind of intro hook statement that starts the whole YouTube video. And I want to show you in real time how you can go through and really decide on which takes to use and kind of chop up those takes, because on something like a YouTube video or any video where you're talking to the camera, it's very likely that when you're trying to deliver a line to camera that you mess up, try again, mess up, try again. Sometimes there's a good part from the first take, and the second half you want to use parts from the second take. So we're going to dive into that right now and see what we can do. So here we have the beginning shot, which is a wide shot, where I take the Pelican case in the center of the room and I set it down. Okay. And then I move in and shoot a close-up of that same exact movement. Whew. I know this doesn't look like much now, but in a few days, this is going to be my brand new film recording space. So that's one take. So let's go ahead and label these a specific color so that they stand out from the rest of our sequence. So it's going to go with rose, and then let's go ahead and skim forward. Not going to be using any of this. I'm reading the waveforms, aka looking down at my audio here to find out where to bring the player head next, which is right here before I deliver another option of that same exact take. So in this video, I'm going to walk you. So in this video, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, we can see I restart my line here, I restart again here, and I restart again here. Now, what I'm going to do is go to where there's no space so we can get a clean cut right here. We don't need those first mess ups. So I'm going to create a cut, hit play. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step steps that I went through to take this studio space from this to this. Okay. That might not make sense now, what I'm saying, but in the final edit, you'll understand why I'm saying this line. Anyways, what I also heard in that take was there's a little beginning noise that we don't need. That's something you always want to keep in mind, especially when you're cutting dialogue together. The extra all that stuff, you can take it out because it adds no value to the viewer. So in this video, I find the moment. Right there. So in this video, and sometimes, let's see if I even cut one later. So in this problem you run into sometimes. We have a noise that the subject makes before the actual line that we want to cut into. Now, there's a little kss before the first word that I speak as I'm clearing my throat or whatever I was doing. And if I want to do a frame later to cut into, I'm then cutting into the first kind of syllable or hit of that first word. The way around that is to bring down by creating a keyframe. I hit P to bring up the pen tool, and then I create a little bit of a fade in. That creates a lot more of a clean beginning of my sentence, because when we speak, most of the time, we're blending words together in our sentence. Like when I say this, it goes into that, it goes into that, it goes into that. And if I try to create a clean cut, sometimes the end of that word is at the beginning of this word. And so you'll be able to really clean up those kind of things by creating fade ins and fade outs like we've done previously, but that we haven't done yet to vocals, but it's an excellent, excellent tool to create those clean cuts. So we know that these were my two mistakes. I read the audio waveform to get to the take that we wanted. Now we're going to delete this excess and let's scrub through right here. Woo. Let's get into it. Okay, this is the beginning of a second take for the whole sequence. Man. Okay, you can see I tried to say the line, but I lost my train of thought, didn't know what I was going to say. So let's go ahead and skip ahead right to where before the sound is telling us where the take is going to begin. And I'm going to delete this mess up. We're not going to use that. Man, I know this doesn't look like much. I know it doesn't sound like much, but in a few days, I'm going to show you how I went from taking this studio space like this and made it look like this. Okay, so when I snap in the footage and the actual edit happens, I'm going to show cutaways of the before studio, that, to the after studio, boom, which we have footage of that we haven't gone through yet. And if I read this waveform here, and if I look at this waveform here, it looks like all of these are me delivering this ending phrase and made it look like this. So it looks like we're going to have a lot of options to work with. I'm going to go ahead and delete these empty spaces. This is going to allow for us to be able to play back to back these multiple takes and easily choose the best one. Whew. Perfect. And so what we just did is we pulled the selects on our very first shot. We have 2 different takes to choose from. Whew. I know this doesn't look like much now, but in a few days, this is going to be my brand new film recording space. Man, I know this doesn't look like much. I know it doesn't sound like much, but in a few days, I'm going to show you how I went from taking this studio space like this and made it look like this. Okay, so I see something that you may run into when you're doing videos similar to this. There's a line here that I say that it straight up doesn't make sense. I say, in the next few days. Sound like much, but in a few days? In a few days, I'm going to show you, and that's not what I was trying to say. So I have another take that I do say the proper line, and I want to use this as an example to see how we can splice 2 different takes together seamlessly so that we get the right information that we're trying to convey to our viewer. So in this video, I'm going to walk you. So I want to start at this. So in this video, I want to start that clip there, and I want to end this video before I say in the next few days. Like much. I know it doesn't sound like much, but in a few days, I'm going to show you how I went from So I'm going to try to cut it after I say but. We'll see how that works. So I make a cut there, and I'm going to drag this in, hold command. Okay. Much, but so in this video, I'm going to sound like much. I know it doesn't sound like much. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through. Okay, so let's say we were happy with that, right? That we were happy with the splicing that we made. If you wanted to get rid of this jump cut much. So in this video, let's say we were really happy with the audio and we didn't have to fine tune it. I would fine tune it a little bit more, maybe add a little bit of a fade to this clip much. So in this video, and we can even drop this on a lower layer and push them together so that we don't have any empty space, and see if that helps the line to flow a little bit more cleanly. I don't like much. So in this video, like much. I know it doesn't sound like much. So in this video, okay. So that's clean enough audibly for now. But let's say we want to do something like I was saying about this jump cut. An easy way to get around that, if you don't have 2 angles that you're working with, see, this would be a perfect time to switch to a different angle for this situation. I don't have that, but what we can do is select our clip that we're cutting into, go up to the effects tab, and we can increase the scale of our clip. Let's say we increase it 20 points. Now, because I increased the scale, it's cutting off the top of my head. We don't want that, so we're going to push it down a little bit, and we can center it. Now we have more of the frame to move around because we scaled it up beyond the borders of our actual frame size. And now let's see what that looks like. Man, I know this doesn't look like much. I know it doesn't sound like much. So in this video, I'm going to walk you. So that cuts together a lot better. I know that the cutting between these words and this sentence isn't the cleanest example, but it's more about how to splice two different takes together. And if you don't have multiple cameras to work with, how do you fix something that would be a distracting jump cut? An easy fix for that is to scale up the image. I don't like much. So in this video, without that scale up, if we go and remove what we just did, here's what it looks like. I don't like much. So in this video, I'm gonna... Not very good. And then with our scale up... I don't like much. So in this video, I'm gonna... Way cleaner. Now we have a lot of takes for the end of this intro sequence of me doing this snap thing where I'm going to show the beginning, the before and after of here and here. You can see here, we've got a lot of takes of this, okay? Woo! Such a big difference. And that's a good thing to do so that while you're filming, you do multiple takes so that in this editing process, we have different ones to work with. And you want to find the one that has the right energy and the right vibe. Kind of like picking the right music for your track. The music sets the tone. The different takes that you have, each take kind of has its own mini tone that's adding to the larger tone of the overall video. So you can choose the proper take. I'm not going to bore your ears with going through all of these different takes that I did. But what I want to show you is something that you can do temporarily while you're building out your rough edit or pulling your selects and map out what your video is going to look like before necessarily having the shots ready to be dropped in. So clearly by my dialogue, you can hear that I'm going to show right here this on that snap. I'm going to show a before shot of my studio like this. So I just cut out the video and made a blank screen and made it look like this. And clearly on that second snap, it's going to be an after shot. Now, temporarily, we can put in text where our video will later be dropped in. That way, when we're going through our rough edit, we know ahead of time that when we find that proper clip later in the edit, boom, we can drop it in where the text is acting as a temporary placeholder for that shot. So I'm going to type in before shot. Okay, we can kind of scale this down. We don't need it to be so big. And I'm going to select it in the effects panel. And I personally like to bring down these temporary placeholder shots down to the bottom middle of the frame. You can put it in the center. You can have it centered in the center of the frame. You can have it low. You can have it high. I like it at the bottom. It makes it easier for me, my brain, to kind of compute that. But let's go ahead and put it down, and then we'll have it just filling the empty space like this, and made it look like this. And for that, we can go ahead and copy this text layer by holding Alt, clicking, and dragging. And then we'll hit T for the text tool. And I'm going to change the text to after shot. Okay. And because we changed the amount of characters, okay, this. Now I'm going to put the take that I think fits best from these different examples. Whew. Ah, the magic of film, being able to time travel. Yep, I got a lot of work to do. And then boom, the music would start, the actual video itself would start, and that would be kind of the intro hook of the rest of the YouTube video. So if you wanted to, you can even put main sequence, just so you know that that's where the bulk of the video is actually going to start. So the real takeaway here is choosing the right takes, using the waveforms to really ninja your way forward quicker in your edit to get rid of what you don't need, rather than mindlessly scrubbing through and just looking at the visuals. And it's a great technique as well to use text title cards as a temporary placeholder of what you want to add in later in the edit. Okay, so as I've been pulling the selects, I've been removing parts that were mess ups on takes, choosing the best takes, making the proper cuts, and refining and taking out what's not needed. I've been labeling the clips that signal and show me as the editor when the topic is changed or when the scene may change or any other kind of thing that I should know when I go back to the edit. Now, because we're working more with dialogue and getting more into these intermediate level steps where we want to have more refined audio and videos, I want to kind of show more of this process of refining audio. It's going to be very applicable to all your future projects because a lot of being an editor is making smooth dialogue, and a lot of recording smooth dialogue doesn't happen all the time front to back where you just do one take all the way through and it's clean. So we kind of got to ninja our way in here. So I wanted to take a second and continue to kind of show what this process looks like and how we get a seamless cut in our edit. And I'm shooting at 2.8. Okay, we're going to make a cut there with the ISO at 400.8 with the I. And when you're making these kind of cuts to take out the empty spaces, you want to be able to play it back, close your eyes, and listen to hear if you can hear a cut being made. Now, if I'm visually looking at this while I'm watching it, I see a cut being made and it makes it okay that there's an audio change. The trick is if we play this back and we don't look at our edit, 2.8 with the I hear a little bit of an extra gap, okay? What I'm going to do to fix the gap right here, 8 with the okay, is to select our clips and scoot them over a few frames. And now I'm going to close my eyes and play it back. I'm shooting at 2.8 with the ISO. There's still a little extra gap. I want it to be a seamless sentence that doesn't have any weirdness, okay? So let's take out a few more frames here. And I'm shooting at 2.8 with the ISO at 4. And I'm shooting at 2.8 with the ISO. Perfect. So that to me doesn't send any red flags in my brain. It doesn't say, oh, there sounds like there's a cut there. There needs to be more space or less space. That's perfect. Now let's continue. 100. Because this is actually a really well lit, brightly lit circumstance. The environment. Here's another scenario where there can be something kind of refined here. I repeat myself a little bit and there's an extra that we don't need. Brightly lit. So let's make a cut after the This is actually a really well lit, brightly lit circumstance. Okay, so I say well lit, brightly lit. So we could try to cut in the well lit, but I already say brightly lit. So what I'm going to do instead of making the cut here, brightly lit, is make the cut here, circumstance, after circumstance, and just completely skip these two attempts to fix my audio. I'm just going to skip those. Actually, a really well lit circumstance. Okay, perfect. And there's a little too much space. Really well lit circumstance. The really well lit circumstance. Really well lit circumstance. The cool. So that's a pretty seamless edit. In one cut, we took out an extra and we took out an extra repetitive phrase. And the reason we're doing that is A, making the seamless edit, B, people's attention span is like that, right? So we want to really take out any extra information that doesn't need to be there.